Hello, this is Leah with your weekly grain market update for the week of November 7th. Corn futures were down 1.5 cents. From a technical standpoint, it was disappointing Friday to see December futures unable to regain traction following Thursday's drop below the recently supportive level. Prices to close the week remain slightly above the low for the week, and next week's trade will be important to see if buyers show interest in prices. To the downside, the 50-day moving average is a likely bearish target for next week's trade. News was quiet on Friday, with traders likely awaiting USDA input on the Friday's WASDE report before making any big moves. Bullish traders will be looking for a cut in stock estimates toward early summer forecasts in the 1.8 billion bushel range. In other news, the U.S. Senate is in session on Friday, attempting to vote on pass the bill to end the ongoing government shutdown. In the world news, Argentina's corn crop is planted as of this week. Planting paused through November and producers switched to soybeans before resuming last corn planting toward the end of the month and into December. The agency reported 79% of the corn crop is rated good to excellent. Corn plantings in Argentina are expected to be 10% higher in 2025 than they were last year. Soybean futures were down 1 cent. The soybean market recovered some of its Thursday losses on Friday, with Thursday's selling off seem at this point to have been mostly technically driven. January futures remain among the high for prices in 2025 and the highest seen since summer of 2024. So profit-taking episodes should be expected. Reported early Friday, China will restore import license to 3 U.S. firms which were originally suspended back in March during the period of trade war. That news, combined with a series of signings over the past 2 days between Chinese firms and trading, have aided soybean prices in the recovery efforts ahead of the weekend. China's overall appetite for soybeans remains strong, importing a reported 9.5 million metric tons in October, up 17% from the same point in 2024. Unfortunately, the U.S. is continuing to be absent from shipments, something that will hopefully shift through the end of 2025 and early months of 2026, ahead of the next Brazilian harvest. In the world news, Argentina is underway for the 2026 soybean crop, reaching 4.4% this week, which is a bit behind normal pace for early November. But planting usually doesn't hit its busiest point until the middle of the month, before slowing down in the end of November as producers will shift efforts back to corn. The agency is forecasting Argentine producers will harvest 43.5 million acres. This would be down from about 4% from last year's acreage. USDA last estimated Argentina's soybean production to be 48.5 million metric tons in 2026, which would be down about 4 to 5% as well from 25. Wheat futures are up 7 to 8 cents. The wheat market through Thursday and Friday's session essentially removed the premium built into the market. Rumors are now that the purchases were limited to just 2 cargoes of soft white and hard red spring wheat. This would explain the positive sessions, while winter wheat markets dropped considerably with hard red and soft red. Just some things to look at and think about. Reach out to your local grain merchandiser with any thoughts or questions. Hope you had a fun and safe weekend.